Okay, so this is kind of a follow-up to today's class that didn't go as planned with the connection with Skype, but this is for Unit 6 in the office, and this is the vocabulary building, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the grammar and do some listening dictation. It'll be a very short video this time, but please watch before the next class and prepare your answers and show them to me in next class. Okay, so let's begin. So for today's homework, I asked you to do the vocabulary building. Let's check answers. Okay, so let's see here. I'm going to go in a different order, like I usually do, and okay. So, listen to my definition and find the word and then write the correct word, okay? Okay. What does stationery mean? Well, stationery is paper used for writing letters. Okay? What does commute mean? Commute? Well, commute is to travel regularly to get to work. So when I commute, I take a car. You might take a bus or a train or a bicycle, or you might walk. Okay? So my commute to the University of Queensland is about 50 minutes. It's almost an hour sometimes. Okay? It's a very long commute. Okay, number 3. What does account mean? Okay, account is the business one company conducts with another company or a customer. So, an account. Okay, you can also have a bank account, like a ginko no koza, but this is kind of a little bit different. Okay, number 4. What does promotion mean? Promotion. Well, promotion is being offered a higher position within one's company. Okay, so you start out entry level and you move up and you get promoted to different levels. So I could be an office worker, and then I could be promoted to a manager, and promoted to a supervisor, and promoted to vice president, and then maybe someday promoted to president, being president. Okay, promotion. Okay. What does employee mean? Well, employee means it is a person who is given work in return for money, right? So when you have a job, you're an employee of that company or that place. Okay? Employee. Number 6. Affirm. What's affirm? What does affirm mean? Okay. In this case, firm, okay, is a group of people doing business together. Usually another word is kind of company. Okay, firm equals company. Okay, and they're a group of people doing business together. Okay. Number 7, equipment. Okay, what does equipment mean? Okay, so equipment are the tools or instruments used in an activity. Okay, so the equipment for this class, for you as students, would be, your book, your textbook, your notebook, your pencils, pens, highlighters, maybe your cell phone, and when we go into the computer lab, computers, right? And also to set up this class, this special kind of Skype-based class, you need to have the other computer, you need to have a camera, right? This camera here, and other things, right? So that's equipment. Okay, number 8. Labor. What does labor mean? Well, labor, it means kind of people working at especially physical jobs. Okay, a laborer is a person. Okay, and you might hear the word labor union. Okay, labor union. So it's kind of an organization or association that helps to provide assistance to employees in jobs. So a laborer is kind of like an employee too. So labor union in Japanese would be 労働組合ですね. Okay. Number 9. What is a conference? Conference. Well, a conference is a meeting of considerable size. Okay. Usually a lot of people come together and watch presentations, have discussions, right? It's not a small meeting. A meeting could be just like 2 people, but a conference can't be 2 people. Right? You can have a meeting in a conference room where maybe more than like 10 or 15 people can sit down. Okay. The last one is supervisor. Supervisor is a person who directs others at work. Okay, kind of like a manager in a sense, but a supervisor. To supervise is a verb, to supervise, checking, making sure everybody's doing their work. Okay, so that's the vocabulary building. And I just want to go through the grammar real quick. In this unit, we're talking about negative questions, okay, things that start with a be verb plus not, or an auxiliary do not, do or have plus not, the negative, okay. So you have, didn't we meet before, right? あれもしかして前に会ったんじゃないか right? Right? 会ってない right? So it's similar in Japanese too, right? Hasn't it been cold lately? Right? Or isn't Kathy pretty? Right? And then some negative questions may have connotations of surprise or confirmation or accusation, right? Didn't you eat my sandwich? Right? 私のサンドイッチ食べたでしょ right? 食べてない right? So those kind of things, right? The next part is tag questions, and so instead of at the beginning, you have it at the end of the sentence. So my directions were easy to follow, weren't they? It's kind of a confirmation, kind of making sure that somebody got the information. You didn't get lost, did you? Right? And Naoki is a student at this university, isn't he? Right? And other things too. And tag questions that follow imperative sentences like will you, won't you, would you, can you, can't you, could. They will always use will you with a negative imperative. Okay? Come with me, will you? Have a seat, won't you? Right? Don't leave the door unlocked, will you? Okay. Okay, and make sure you understand the tactics for part 2, which relates to the skill building and the listening there, and then the mock listening test, which we will do in the next class. Okay, so just go down through, write in your notes, tactics 1 and 2. Okay, now I'm going to skip over to page 72 and look at the grammar questions for tactics for part 5. Okay, here we're talking about prepositions and conjugations. Okay, so in that table you see during and while and prior to and before and despite, in spite of, things like that. So you have prepositions on the left, your left, and on the right is a conjugation. Okay, or conjugations, yeah. And so write down the definition in bold, right? When the choices are for tactics 1, tactics 2, when the choices are, okay? And look at the example, write down the example, and please do skill building A and B, okay? And then for homework, which I asked you to do for tonight, please do page 73 through 75, the mock reading test. This mock reading test should only take you about 10 to 15 minutes, okay? It shouldn't take you more than that, okay? So if you get to 20 minutes, stop, okay? Try to do it under 15 minutes. Okay. Now lastly, I just want to do a listening dictation exercise that I wanted to do in class today, but we didn't have a chance to. So please write down the following 6 sentences, okay? And look at page 68, okay? And we're looking at, are they a tag question? Are they a negative question? Or page 69, are they referring to tactic 1 or tactic 2? Okay. All right. So 6 sentences. Actually, they're all questions, and number 6 is a kind of a conversation. It's A son and B son, so A and B. Okay, question answer. Okay, number 1. Please listen and write down. Okay, get your notes ready. Okay. You can pause me and stop, and then rewind and play again. Okay, number 1. You bought the stationery at Staya, didn't you? Okay, number 2. Hasn't it been cold lately? Number 3. Doesn't he like to go to the conferences? Number 4. Wasn't the old supervisor from Australia? Number 5. Do you have a minute to talk about the new promotion? And number 6, this is a conversation, okay? So A-san, B-san, okay? A-san, why did you buy a new bike? Because I didn't want to commute by bus anymore. I'll do number 6 one more time. Why did you buy a new bike? Because I didn't want to commute by bus anymore. Okay, so tactics for part 5, I sent you in the email some example sentences for tactic 1, okay? And here are the answers, okay? All right, so hopefully you did your homework and you checked it out. So number 1, something, the baseball game, I saw Brad Pitt sitting in front of me, okay? So the best answer probably is a preposition, and here we can say during. During the baseball game, I saw Brad Pitt sitting in front of me. So during. We wouldn't say while the baseball game. We would say during the baseball game. Okay, number 2. The classes were canceled due to the typhoon. Due to the typhoon. So this is a conjugation, okay? Number 3, the vice president of the labor union held a meeting while the president was on leave. Here we use a conjugation while, okay? While the president was on leave. On leave means kind of like oyasumichu, or kind of on vacation, right? So the vice president of the labor union held the meeting. 彼が、会議をやった。Okay. Number 4. The new employee worked as a supervisor prior to getting hired here. The new employee worked as a supervisor before getting hired here. Here, you can use both or either conjugation or preposition prior to or before. Okay. There are some cases where you can use both, but you just have to be careful. Okay. All right. So okay. So that's it. And there is no conversation this week. We're going to be talking a little bit more on Wednesday in the next class about this unit and going over the listening and checking your answers. Okay, so see you next class.